Suppose an angle's vertex is at 2, 1, and the angle measures 1 radian. A circle with a radius 1.5 units long is centered at the vertex of the angle. So we have that shown here in this diagram. So we've got the center of the circle, which is the vertex, located at 2, 1. And this we're in the 3 o'clock position, sweeps out 1 radian. And we have the terminal point up here, which we'll call x, y. Suppose we're interested in looking at the coordinates of that terminal point. So for now, let's just look at the x-coordinate. So if we're thinking about x-coordinate, we should be thinking about some kind of horizontal distance, so maybe the cosine function pops into mind. However, when we look at the cosine function gives us a horizontal distance to the right of the center of the circle, given an angle measure. And so that distance right there is cosine of theta, which is 1. So cosine of 1 radius lengths. And since the radius of the circle is 1.5 units long, that is 1.5 times cosine of 1 units. And by units, I mean whatever units are on the x and y axes. So that is 1.5 times cosine of 1 units. However, that does not give us the x-coordinate of that terminal point. It just gives us the terminal point's distance to the right of the center of the circle. So notice that if we're talking about an x-coordinate, we're really talking about a horizontal distance to the right of the y-axis. And so we're missing this whole section right here. So we're missing this whole length right there, that horizontal distance to the right of the y-axis. And so that horizontal distance right there is actually 2 units because the center of that circle is actually already 2 units to the right of the y-axis. So if we want to talk about the terminal point's distance to the right of the y-axis, we start with the 2 units, and then we add on that 1.5 times cosine of 1 units. And therefore, the terminal point is 2 plus 1.5 times cosine of 1 units to the right of the y-axis, which is what the x-coordinate of that point represents. And therefore, the x-coordinate of the terminal point will be equal to that expression. If you plugged this into your calculator, you'd get a value of approximately 2.81, which, if we look at this diagram, looks pretty good. The x-coordinate of that point seems to be about 2.81, and so this seems like a good value. Whereas if you just computed the value of 1.5 times cosine of 1, you would have just gotten 0.81, which, looking at this diagram, 0.81 does not appear to be the x-coordinate of that terminal point.